Hello everyone, my name is Lexi, and welcome to this leg of the Pokémon Maralocke, covering the Sinnoh region in Generation 4. The Maralocke has a Nuzlocke of the 32 mainline games in release order. The standard Nuzlocke rules are in play, plus no overleveling past the gym leader says, and the species I use in the Hall of Fame can't be used again. That means I can't reuse anything that got into the Hall of Fame from Generations 1 to 3. Check out the playlist to see where everything stands so far. Like Hoenn, Sinnoh also has a more selective local Pokédex, but Diamond and Pearl can only work with 59 final evolutions. Again, this doesn't include legendaries, but split evolutions are allowed. Platinum did receive an expansion, so that added on another 27 species for a total of 74 available. Sinnoh is another region that I'll go through 5 times, so I will once again need to be careful with what I sent the Hall of Fame for my runs through the Switch remix, which are projected to have the most limited selection for me to work with. Additionally, I play with a Soft Troops clause. If I have its Pokédex entry, I don't catch it, but that does mean catching more than one of an evolutionary line. This video will go through runs in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. The Sinnoh region is considered notorious for having a severely unbalanced regional Pokédex with hardly anything that can host an open barbecue. But it did revitalize the physical and special split with moves drawing from both categories across all 17 types, completely changing up moveset viabilities. And the day-night cycle is back, meaning another chance to play around with encounters based on what time it is. But unfortunately for me, my neighbor Barry didn't care about time and had the patience of a certain blue hedgehog. In Diamond and Pearl, he roped me in to try and catch a lake monster close to our home in Twin Leaf Town. There we saw this Professor Owen guy leave his vacation suitcase in the grass and had no choice but to use some Pokemon in there to fend off against some wild Starly. Both games started out with a Turtwig and Piplup, naming them Riku and Rockhopper, and both of them handled the birds like pros. Meanwhile in Platinum, Barry tried to get me to Sand Gem instead, but Rowan stopped us and let us choose a Pokemon outright. And that's when I met Tracker the Chimchar. For the record, for my Platinum name theme, my baby nephew was born the day before I started the run, so I chose a theme with sentimental ties to his older brother and sister. Love your family. And talking of family, my mother then gave me some running shoes in person inside our own house. That's a big step up. Thank you so much. Once at Sand Gem, Rowan entrusted me with a Pokédex, then his assistant Lucas encouraged me to say bye to my mom before exploring any further than 10 feet from the lab. But I made sure to buy my first Pokeballs from the nearby Pokemart before doing so. On the way back home, Diamond met a Bidoof on Route 201 and named her Anna, while Pearl took on Robin the Starly. Since Platinum met Tracker there, the first catch instead was over at Lake Verity, the home of Haley the Bidoof. After going through the redundant catching tutorial and getting some more balls for free, Route 202 was ripe for the taking. Diamond and Platinum took on a Starly pair and named them Sean and Chicoletta, while Pearl met Bush Baby the Bidoof. It was also the location for our first trainer battle, and I felt confident with raising humble teams for the Backwater region. The first trainer battle!
A new record!
Well, I guess that meant Pearl had to rematch Barry outside Jubilife City with only 2 Pokemon. I thought for some reason his starter had a move the same type which would destroy us, but apparently not. It's still best to be safe than sorry. Once the match was over, the gang was free to get an encounter on Route 203, a Shinx trio, naming them Roxas, Panda, and Liberty. With those encounters drooped out, it was off to Route 204, where Diamond and Pearl took on the Bajou pair Tinkerbell and Mushroom, and Platinum met Alex the Wormpole. The Ravage path to the north was the first place where you could meet either a Zubat or a Geodude. 2 fantastic encounters here in this region. Diamond met Lexius the Geodude, and Pearl took on Harlequin the Zubat. Platinum also met a Zubat, but Alex somehow got the mother of all high-roll tackle crits and killed it. Has this worm been to the gym or something? At Orberg Gate, Diamond and Pearl's catches at the Ravaged path were inverted with Maleficent the Zubat and Fireworks the Geodude, while Platinum also filled up the initial 6 with a Geodude named Everest. Orberg City's northern exit on Route 207 also has some great team-building options, thanks to Diamond and Pearl's match-up pair Ericus and Viking, and Julius the Ponyta got sent to the box for Platinum. And talking of Platinum, Humdinger the Zubat got met in Orberg Mine, so all was good. This mine was also where the squads met Roark, the Orberg gym leader. After reminding him of his 9-to-5 job, the squads made some last preparations. Diamond and Pearl did so many laps around the town to bond with Tinkerbell and Mushroom, allowing them to evolve into a Roselia each before the fight. The Starly duo evolved into a Staravia and gained the Intimidate ability along the way, while Platinum also saw Tracker reach his next form as a Monferno, and Alex evolve all the way into a Beautifly. The fight against Rocket Diamond was where I forgot that the the physical special split was a thing. Riku's Razor Leaf one-shotted the Geodude, but not the Onix. Meanwhile, a measly Absorb was enough to take away the rest of its health after a potion heal. Because he didn't OHKO the Onix, it had set up Stealth Rock, which Tinkerbell tanked on the switch in for Cranidos. It tried to fight with Pursuit, but it triggered Poison Points, leaving her Mega Drain and Lingering Poison to take it out combined. Obviously, the run wasn't damage-free, but Mega Drain restored everything, so no big deal. Rockhopper left for Pearl and disintegrated the Geodude with Bubble, as expected. But remembering how physically beefy everything was last time, I let Mushroom do something different. A growth setup. The Onix barely did anything back. Chip damage with Rock Throw plus a Screech defense drop. But once at +6 special attack, Mushroom swept through Onix and the Cranidos in the back with Mega Drain. Maybe that was overkill, and once again it was a case of health lost but leeching moves restored it, but I still felt cautious. Platinum opened with Tracker. His Mach Punch was only good enough to 3-shot the Geodude and Onix without the 2 wasted potions that Rock brought in. And even then, Rock Throw barely did anything to him thanks to his recently gained secondary fighting type. After finishing off the Onix, I opted for Everest against his Cranidos, which strangely had no Rock-type attacking moves. Tanking a tiny Stealth Rock and some uses of Pursuit, she finished off that thing with 3 Rock Throws of her own. The trip to Floroma Town raised my awareness for these Team Galactic criminals roaming around the place. They were stealing electricity, keeping a scientist hostage, and taking the afternoon tea business all for themselves. After taking care of them at Floroma Meadow, a man gave me some honey, which I immediately slathered on the only encounter spot there, a single tree. The only problem is I had to wait 6 hours real time to get anything, so I left it there and moved on. While out there, everyone dived in for a weasel at the Valley Windworks, naming them Naminé, Badger, and Zuma. And during these skirmishes, Rockhopper evolved into a Prinplup at level 16, and the Sheik's trio became a Luxio trio at level 15. We couldn't go further without standing up against Commander Mars inside the building, and her fight is infamous for having an illegal level 16 Perugly! 17 in Platinum. Seriously, she's not even a gym leader! Nevertheless, all 3 games had a plan. Diamond and Pearl almost had the same thing happen to them. Lexaeus and Firework took a bite from the Zubat, which luckily didn't flinch, then got the OHKO with Rock Throw. For some reason, Perugly kept trying to do chip damage with Scratch while they reacted with middling magnitude rolls. In Pearl, it changed things up a bit and got a critical feint attack on Firework, but it didn't disrupt things and we moved along. In Platinum, Shinx learned Spark earlier on, meaning Liberty was able to get the one-shot on Zubat. Everest tried her best against the Perugly, but it was smart enough to turn one Fake Out and primarily fight with Feint Attack instead of Scratch. After 3 mid-magnitude rolls and getting close to a crit, I swapped in Tracker and let him finish it off with a Mach Punch. With that saga over, the squads continued north to Route 205. Diamond and Pearl met a Shellos pair and named them Demix and Blob, while Platinum caught Apollo the Pachirisu. These lines can also have Pickup as an ability, but he had Runaway instead, making him just another disposable battery. Eterna Forest was where I had to escort some Cheryl girls through the creepy woods. It was also where Diamond met Kyrie the Murkrow, while Pearl and Platinum took on the Bruneri duo Robo Bunny and Danny, both of them thankfully having Runaway instead of Klutz. It was also where Diamond got overconfident, believing Lexaeus would be a great asset against a quad weak to Rock Beautifly, and forgot it learns Absorb via level up. My lesson here is to always watch out for level up movesets. So I guess Tinkerbell got brought back in, which isn't brilliant type coverage, but at least it's something. And Riku also evolved into a Grotto while in there, which is also a nice pinch of compensation. Eterna City was not only the location of the second gym, but it also had a strange man that encouraged me to dig underground. I could spend all day getting treasures and neat held items here if I chose to, but the squads knew their stopping limit, and that was getting a fossil. Diamond picked up a skull fossil while Pearl and Platinum obtained an armor fossil. We could backtrack all the way to Orberg to get them revived, but they'll still be too frail against the leader here. I guess the fighting types called from Route 211 could help if needed. Diamond and Pearl found a Metatype pair and named them Zexion and Shree, while Platinum took on Mandy the matchup. When challenging the trainers inside the local gym, Diamond had at this point benched Tinkerbell in favor of Maleficent, believing she'd be a better wall for the fights ahead. She and Harlequin soon evolved into a gold bat at level 22, giving us more of an advantage. We were ready to shred through Gardenia's grass types. Diamond opened with Shone, and her wing attack went clean through the Cherubian Turtwig, but she didn't have the power to do the same to the Roserade and tanked a magical leap into crit range. Maleficent stepped in, tanked a Poison Sting of all moves, then used another wing attack to finish it off. Pearl's lead of Harlequin one-shotted the Cherubi with wing attack, but couldn't do the same to Turtwig, allowing it to set up a reflect. The potion heal stalled its eventual fall, as well as the first part of a standoff against her Roserade. The worst it did was land a Stun Spore, and thanks to typing, its other 3 attacking moves of Poison Sting, Magical Leap, and Grass Knot got completely walled. Once the reflect wore off, Harlequin broke out from the paralysis and took out that Flower Bunch with the second of 2 wing attacks, and he evolved into a Crobat in the aftermath, so that Maleficent also evolved into not long after the fight. Chicoletta opened for Platinum and hit 3 wing attacks each on both the Turtwig and the slightly illegal Cherim. That meant the former set up with Sunny Day, activating the latter's Flower Gift, which oddly didn't alter its speed. It was still fast enough to go first, plant a Leech Seed, then follow up with a Magical Leaf. For Roserade, I swapped in Tracker, and by then the sun was gone. He was slower, and Flame Wheels had projected 2 HKO, but he both dodged a Stun Spore and tanked its own Magical Leaf to nail the W. Now that the group's clears cut, they went on to save a Bicycle Salesman's stolen Pokemon inside the nearby Galactic Eterna building. And while going through their stronghold, Haley became a Bibarel at level 15, drooping out that line for Platinum and also giving her more options as the ultimate HMU. Right at the top of the building was Commander Jupiter with an equally illegal Skuntank in the level 20s. What is with these steep illegal evolution lines? She led with a Zubat though. Diamonds led with Roxas, dispatching it immediately with a Spark Oko. Ericus handled the Skuntank and took it out with a Revenge 2-shot. The first one was Wimpy as Skuntank opted for Poison Gas, but the second one got doubled in power from a crit Night Slash that hardly did anything. In Pearl, Firework opted for the same defensive strategy from fighting Mars. Rock Throw one-shotted the Zubat, and she made a valiant effort on the Skuntank with a level 8 magnitude. But it barely didn't get the one-shot, and the crit Night Slash would kill her. Since having a Machop worked well last time, I switched into Viking, tanked another Night Slash and a Poison Gas, and used an over-the-top guts-boosted Karate Chop to finish it off. Platinum's lead of Liberty took out the Zubat with Spark as expected, but then we faced that ridiculous Skuntank, and we had no active Machop to cheese it with this time. So in this case, Chicoletta got brought in for an Intimidate attack drop. Her use of wing attacks dropped it into yellow HP even with the Citrus Berry consumed, but after getting intoxicated with Poison Gas and weakened to the point that a crit Night Slash would kill, I swapped her out. Liberty brought an Intimidate drop number 2, but she couldn't survive a crit Night Slash either. I then thought it would be a great idea for Tracker to tank weak regular Night Slashes, which worked, as 2 mech punches and a pointless smokescreen later, we won the battle. Back outside, Platinum bumped into the Cynthia lady, who gave some egg that's too big to cook and serve in an English breakfast, so it went in the box. The squads then obtained a bicycle going over the bridge to the south and taking a shortcut back to Orberg. The fossils were revived in the city's mining museum. Diamond received Terra the Cranidos from the skull fossil, while Pearl and Platinum sent over their armor fossils and got a shield on each, naming them Traffic Cone and Rubble. All 3 went in the box. Pearl also went to the Wayward Cave for another encounter. Normally it's a great spot to get a Gibble later, but instead the squad met Monster the Bronzor, and it had the Levitate ability, which gave me some ideas for late game. Pearl also stuck around underneath the bridge for some trainer battles before moving on, but then ran into a wild Cricketune and thought it would be a good idea to let Viking fight for experience. But after 2 attacks, Bide was ready to unleash havoc on the following turn and kill anyone on our team if we didn't run. And unfortunately for us, Viking was too slow and became Pearl's next casualty. Well, yikes. Filling the spot for Pearl was Tree, which isn't as good right now, but could be useful for something or other. And before cutting through Mount Coronet, Firework and Everest both reached level 25 and evolved into a Graveler. Everest's bulk was needed for Platinum's quick detour into the old chateau inside Eterna Forest. Diamond and Pearl had nothing to catch here until post-game, but Platinum were able to thump a TV during the night and summon a Rotom. Alex was able to paralyze it with Stun Spore and help with the weakening process, but that got traded in return with a Thunder Shock that claimed his life. We did actually catch the Rotom and name it Turbat, but ultimately it didn't get used, meaning we exchanged a cute little butterfly for no reason. and so Danny joined the party here. Further east at Route 208, Diamond met a derpy little Psyduck and named him Sora. Pearl started a honey tree and met Queen Bee the Combi, and Platinum encountered Callie the Bajou. Heart Home City was where my mother was taking a breather. The squads learned of Fantina's ghost-type gym, and Barry continued to be a pushover. Platinum additionally found the tech support girl for this region, BB, and she gifted us an Eevee that got named Sky. Diamond and Pearl were unable to challenge Fantina without doing other great achievements in this region, but Platinum were able to fight right now. So in preparation, Danny got a huge case of Stockholm Syndrome and evolved into a Lopunny, and Zuma evolved into a Floatzel. Everest did eventually become a Golem, but she didn't get Trade Evolved till after I was done at the gym. By this time, the Honey Tree's Floroma was ready, where Diamond and Pearl met a Burmy each and named them Loxine and Butterfly, while Platinum met Sweetie the Cherubi. But a sentient fruit wasn't going to be useful for Platinum's fight against Fantina, sticking with the team as it was. Danny led out against the Duskull, used Foresight, then started chipping away with Jump Kick. The damage output back was weak, pitiful uses of Future Sight, and Pursuit dealing mere damage, yet his recently obtained Cute Charm ability never activated. He did get burned once through a Will-O-Wisp, and thankfully I had a burn heal in my bag. Once to the Slither, a quick attack finished it off. For the Haunter, I brought in Zuma, and Crunch was an Oko. Okay then, did I seriously adapt a Floatzel? Then, Miss Magia stepped in. Chicoletta arrived first and landed 2 wing attacks while tanking side beams. I'm rather surprised I stayed in for the second one, as a crit would have killed her. I then switched into Liberty with the second of 2 Intimidate attack drops, and she sent in a bite, though that also means tanking a side beam and Shadow Ball all the way down into red HP. Taking Shield Heal, I decided to wing the rest of the way with Zuma. So I brought him in, she healed, and then he went first, knocking it out with another Crunch. Honestly, I was worried about a magical leaf crit if I let Zuma fight the Miss Magius alone, but then again, his namesake has a history of being left aside anyway. Platinum also pushed Barry to one side and caught up with the rest of the gang on Route 209. Diamond went into the grass and met Ariel the Mime Jr. She then took a Maleficent spot and soon evolved into a Mr. Mime after learning Mimic. Look at her stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you say that her moveset's complete? Pearl went into the Lost Tower at night time for the Routes encounter and met Hedgehog the Mischievous, while green means go for Platinum's catch of Rocky the Routes. Silesian Town was the location of the daycare, where the carers would look after no more than 2 Pokémon at a time, just like in Johto and Hoenn. Diamond left behind Terra and Kairi, Pearl opted for Hedgehog and Monster, while Platinum put in Sky and Rubble. On Route 210, Pearl suffered a Honey Tree and obtained Bagpipes the Wurmple, which later became a Cascoon. And Platinum met Katie the Cypher in the grass. It was also the home of a nice little cafe with one of the most economic healing items in the entire franchise, Moo Moo Milk. You're paying $500 to heal 100 HP. That's essentially 5 potions used all at once. There were also some trainers itching to battle there, and Platinum initially had a good time until Tracker couldn't quite Acolyte's Heracross and got met with a counter. Again, I was not remembering movesets. Thankfully, we had Mandy in the box as a replacement, who became a Machamp before joining us. And then there was Route 215, where Diamond was also careless with remembering movesets and lost Nominate to a wild Geodude self-destruct. Why, you son of a bitch! Lucky for Diamond, there was another water type waiting around, so Demix joined in. And Pearl didn't learn her lesson either, but thankfully for us, Rockhopper survived! Woo! Veilstone City was the location of the next gym, though Diamond and Pearl could technically fight that one and the Pastoria gym back to back. Platinum met a man who graciously gave us Wildcat the Porygon in a rare case where you don't gamble away your life savings to get one. Route 214 was also another convenient place to get an encounter. Diamond faced Droop's Clothes done right with Mulan the Graveler, but she didn't get used. As for Pearl, the only thing available to catch here was a Honey Tree encounter, and after meeting Daisy the Cherubi on Route 212, the only thing available to get here was either an Apom or a Heracross. One of them is also a valid option for a pickup mule, while the other is a unique Bug-Stroke fighting type. But rather than keep on enduring Droop's Claws for days, I let random.org choose the encounter for me. And after 3 minutes of clicking refresh, I finally got a match. So Pearl took on the Heracross, naming Scarecrow, then put Tree on the bench. A lot of evolutions also happened before the next gym, with Demix evolving into a Gastrodon, Ericus becoming a Machoke and then a Machamp trading, with Firework also becoming a Golem the same way, and the Luxio trio reaching their final form of Luxray. The squads were then ready to chop their way through Maylene's fighting types. Diamond led with Xion, who handled the Meta-types with a single wing attack, but Aerial Ace couldn't OHKO her Machoke and she had to tank a Rock Tomb. After the resulting 2 shots, Ericus jumped in for Lucario, tanked a Metal Claw, and took it out with 1 Karate Chop. Harlequin also one-shotted the Meta-type with Wing Attack in Pearl, and also didn't have the power to OHKO the Machoke. Even with the Rock Tomb speed drop, he was still able to go first on the second turn and finish it off with the same move. And newbie Scarecrow made a fantastic first impression with an OHKO Brick Break on the Lucario. Once again, Platinum's fight went differently. Meditite flinched Chicoletta right off the bat with Fake Out, but she retaliated with the same old OHKO Wing Attack. Mandy went in for the Machoke. I was hoping to one-shot with Revenge, but the Machoke opted for Focus Energy into Strength, which of course crits because quadrupled crit chance, and made me stick with the 2 shots. Then, Lucario. Force Palm paralyzed her, as it does, but she broke through and sliced it with a guts-boosted Karate Chop. On the way to Pastoria, Platinum tried to get a Houndour at Route 214, but it used Roar and ended the fight prematurely. The second chance at Bella Lakefront went much smoother and Yumi went into the box. And the increased level cap also meant Chicoletta became a star actor before reaching the next gym. After steamrolling the rifle again, Platinum caught up with Diamond and Pearl and went up against Crasher Wake's water types at Pastoria City. And let me remind you that in those 2 games, his ace is the same as that for Maylene's. Diamond faced OHKOs all around. Roxas' Spark insta-killed the Gyarados despite the intimidated attack drop. Riku sliced through the Quagsire with Razor Leaf, and Roxas turned against the Floatzel to spark it to death, tanking a chip damage pursuit. Pearl led with Panda, but her rivalry ability puts her at a further disadvantage against Wake's entire team. Spark was a 2-shot, leaving her to tank a standard Brine crit and deal with a potion heal on Wake's end. Mushroom was out for the rest of the way, one-shotted the Quagsire and Floatzel with Magical Leaf. The Floatzel, however, outsped and went with an Ice Fang, which brought herself all the way down into the red, telling me that he would have been dead to a crit! But it was a risky move that still paid off. For Platinum, Liberty and the Gyarados intimidated each other, though the latter was faster, and thankfully, Waterfall didn't flinch. That left Liberty to low roll with Spark and leave it with a Slither. After a potion heal, she got a high roll with the same move and took it down from full health. Then came Quagsire, which I brought Chicoletta out for. But after one of her uses of Aerial Ace, I learned quickly that it has Rock Tomb in Platinum and not Slam. Even then, she was so bulky she held on all connecting hits, and 2 speed drops didn't phase her as she landed a finishing blow with Quick Attack. Finally, Floatzel. Of course, Liberty had to tank a Brine, but she still got the OHKO with Spark. Back at Veilstone, some Team Galactic grunts ran off with Lucas's Pokédex and we fought them to get it back. While this was going on for Diamond, his Clefairy pulled out Explosion and almost killed Roxas. This was what I was dreading back at Johto, by the way. So out of pure malice, Firework and Everest spitefully wrecked his team with Magnitude Spam. Then at Pastoria, the squads chased after Galactic grunts all the way to Lake Valor, and Diamond and Pearl also pushed Barry to one side along the way. After defeating the grunt in battle, Cynthia appeared again and told me to deliver an old charm to her grandma in Solaceon Town, past the northern section of Route 210. Diamond finally grabbed an encounter there and fished up Aurora the Barboach, but she never got used. And one trainer battle later, Riku reached his final form as a Torterra. By the time Diamond got to Solaceon, the group also ended up with Pokérus, which doubles the EV gain for any Pokemon that has it. And it's spreadable! So I decided to pass it along to Tinkerbell in the box so she could also infect others later. The group so gave the grubby charm to the old lady, Platinum had a brief skirmish with Team Galactic's leader Cyrus, and everyone got the Surf HM. That meant Platinum was able to head further west, but Diamond and Pearl had one obstacle left in their way. In preparation for the next batch, Xion became a Star Raptor for Diamond, and Rockhopper evolved into an Empoleon for Pearl, and they needed that newfound bulk for Fantina's ghost types all the way back at Heart Home. Roxas started things off spectacularly for Diamond with a one-shot spark on the Driftblim, though he still took damage from its Aftermath ability. She brought out that bulky Miss Magius next, which Xion immediately pinned it with an Intimidate attack drop. However, 2 Aerial Aces weren't enough to kill thanks to its Citrus Berry, and to make matters worse, it landed a Confuse Ray, she pushed herself twice, Ice, and a single crit Magical Leaf and non-crit Psybeam brought her down to 2 HP. I swapped to Riku with the intention to use Bite, and yet ended up in crit range to Shadow Ball after landing that attack. I then tried pivoting through Demix into Roxas for a second Intimidate, hoping that a Magical Leaf would get triggered and we could finish it there and then. But nope, this is Diamond and Pearl. The AI is too random to do that. Shadow Ball got in and Roxas got his special defense dropped. There was one thing left to do. Going to Ericus, heal Sean with a Moo Milk while he tanked a Confuse Ray and non-stab Psybeam, which would kill if it had a crit, then go back into Sean for Intimidate number 3 and finish with an Aerial Ace after tanking one more Magical Leaf. Finally, Gengar. A critical Aerial Ace finished it off. For Pearl, Rockhopper took down the Driftblim with 2 Surfs, taking chip damage from Astonish and avoiding the effects of Aftermath. But the Miss Murkies confused him, and after punching himself in the face for a couple of turns and tanking a Psybeam and 2 uses of Shadow Ball, he finally took it down with 2 Surfs, with one of those attacks being in Torrent range. I chased things off the Gengar and sent in Panda. She too got hit by a Confuse Ray, but she broke out immediately, and with the attack boost from Rivalry, she OHKO'd the Gengar with Crunch. Now that Diamond and Pearl could also surf across water, they too took the southwest region of the map. On Route 221, Diamond met Zigbar the Skuntank, which is a cool version exclusive to use later. But while doing so, the team also ran into a slightly overcapped Tentacruel on Route 220, ready to claim a blood sacrifice. Thankfully, the AI wasn't too rough, meaning Alice got caught and dumped in the box. It was also where Platinum met Tammy the Wingull, who stayed on backup as a Fly Mew. Pearl met Car Wash the Glameow on Route 218, another neat version exclusive worth using. All 3 teams effortlessly defeated Barry at nearby Canalave City despite him having a Heracross of his own. But before Pearl would go on to join the other 2 teams in the local gym, the squad took a brief visit to Iron Island. They helped some rally fellow deal with some Team Galactic strays, then at the end of the path was a Shiny Stone, which immediately got used to evolve Mushroom into a Rose Raid. Grass types still generally match badly against fire and steel types though, but there are some exceptions. Diamond led with Riku against his Bronzor. Bite Spam worked out as all it wanted to do was merely chip away with Flash Cannon attacks, as well as try for Hypnosis that missed. Demixor called the Steelix with Surf, then hurled 2 Mud Bombs at the Bastiodon. The first one wasn't enough to OHKO, but all it did was set up with Iron Defense. Diamond tried for a potion heal, but the second Mud Bomb landed a crit at full health. For Pearl, Rockhopper and 2 Surfs over the Bronzor, but got put to sleep between turns and had to tank a teeny tiny extra sensory. He made up for it with a Surf OHKO on the Steelix, and that left Scarecrow to go in against the Bastiodon with a Brick Break OHKO. What legends! Byron opened with a Magneton and Platinum, so Everest led the charge. However, she tanked a brutal Flash Cannon into red HP before even retaliating with an OHKO Earthquake. That led me to bring in Zuma for Steelix, and he too swamped it with a single Surf. Then came the big threat, Bastiodon. In Platinum, this thing knows its signature move of Metal Burst, so I had to be careful. Zuma knew Aqua Jet, so I let him use that, and as expected, the first use of Metal Burst did very little back. The second Aqua Jet landed a crit, which made me scared, and yet it chose to use Stone Edge instead. With that string of luck, Zuma took out the rest of its HP with Surf like a good little aqua puppy. Not long after, Team Galactic began poaching some lake monsters of their own at Lake Valor and Lake Verity, and after knocking down Saturn and Mars in quick succession, the squads went to look out for Barry at Lake Acuity to the north. And after trekking through 5 feet of snow for what felt like forever, I made it to the other side, but Diamond and Pearl saw a couple of Team Galactic guns just standing there unopposed, while Platinum were met with a giant cliff and had no upper body strength to climb it. Time to enlist the help of the nearby gym leader. And that gym leader was Candace, an Ice-type trainer from nearby Snow Point City. Diamond and Pearl had solid answers to everything, but Platinum needed more of an advantage, hence benching Danny in favor of Yumi, who became a fearsome Houndoom. For Diamond, Ericus was a stone-cold killer thanks to his no-guard ability, with 3 cross-chop OHKOs through the Snover, Sneasel, and Abomasnow. Sean's Aerial Ace couldn't quite OHKO the Medicham, but it went for Force Palm instead of Ice Punch for some reason, and the hail took out the rest of its health. Scarecrow got off to a good start for Pearl with OHKO Brick Breaks on the Snover and Sneasel. Harlequin's wing attack was only good enough to take out the Medicham in 2 turns, though I'm more than surprised that it once again went for Force Palm instead of Ice Punch. Scarecrow's Brick Break would only be good enough for a 2 HKO on the Abomasnow, however Grass Whistle put him to sleep. So let's Rock Hopper tank an Avalanche, then go in for the kill with Metal Claw. In Platinum, Mandy handled the Sneasel with a single Karate Chop while tanking an Aerial Ace. And then the Frostlass got out next with no Hail, meaning no actives, no Cloak. I brought out Yumi for this one. It tried for a double team setup, which of course, Feint Attack negates. Sumo washed over the Pilot Swarm with a single Surf. And then there was the Abomasnow, which immediately sent out the Hail. And let Mandy jump in for the second time. She did tank a Wood Hammer, but a Vital Throw combined with recoil damage took out the rest of its health and got us the badge. Finally, the groups were able to reach Lake Acuity, but the third lake creature thing got poached as well and shipped over to Team Galactic's HQ in Veilstone. The groups then began storming their stronghold, but Platinum faced instant tragedy as Chickaletta got trapped in a grunt battle with Mean Look and Confusion, getting killed for it. Rather than mope over the dumb decision, Platinum moved on, evolved Humdinger into a Crobat, then brought him up on par with the rest of the team. The gang squared off against Cyrus and Saturn in quick succession, and freed the creatures from the deep, only to learn that the crystals got taken for something at the top of Mount Coronet. So the group started climbing, and Everest was ready to tank anything going bang for Platinum. But what we didn't realize was that anything that could go bang would also be able to use Earthquake as well, and combined with me misclicking Rock Smash, that was the end of Everest. So Platinum had to regroup again, and that meant paying a quick visit to Iron Island to take on Goodway the Steelix as an alternate explosion wall. And it wasn't just Platinum that faced problems, because right near the top of the mountain, Scarecrow also got met with an explosion and became another casualty for Pearl. I wasn't intending to champ it here anyway, but I at least wanted Scarecrow to survive a little longer. But thanks to how far along the level cap was, then was the time to let Tree rejoin the group, evolve into a Medicham, and finally take advantage of her pure power ability. At the top of the mountain was Spear Pillar, home to two ridiculous boss fights, with one of them almost touching the level cap for this section. It was also where Cyrus put his science project in motion and summoned Dialga, Palkia, or both, depending on the game. But to stop him, the squads had to get through Mars and Jupiter in a double battle, and thankfully for us, Barry offered a helping hand. Demix went first for Diamond and hit the Bronzor pair with two Surfs, only holding back an extra sensory from one of them. But when the horrible Perglean Skuntank got onto the field, I swapped into Ericus, who erroneously held back a non-stab Aerial Ace in a pointless smokescreen thanks to no guard. On the following turn, Ericus held back another Aerial Ace. Barry's Munchlax went down to Skuntank's Poison Jab, and the cross-chop of Ericus brought down that stupid cat. Out went Mars's Golbat and in went Roxas, taking a soft Air Cutter on entry, and Barry's Warful streak continued as Skuntank made a barbecue out of his Staraptor with a crit flamethrower. Roxas was then able to attack, holding back a softened non-flinch bite and taking out the Golbat with a single spark, then went straight for the Skuntank and got the paralysis with the same move, meaning Barry's Weasel was able to get the last hit with Iron Tail. That same move landed a crit on Jupiter's Golbat, meaning Roxas's final spark was effortless. In Pearl, Rockhopper's Surf Spam washed away both Bronzors, Mars's Golbat, Jupiter's Skuntank, and half of Barry's team. During this time, he got confused and punched himself in the face once, while also taking two flamethrowers from the Skuntank, a soft air cutter from the first Golbat, and a Giga Drain from the second. But Mars's Perugly put Rockhopper to sleep with Hypnosis, Barry's Staraptor ran a close combat Oko on it, and I just let Panda finish off that Winged Demon with a spark to take out the last half of its health. Platinum faced a smarter fight. The Bronzor pair immediately set up with Reflect and Light Screen, but Zuma's Surf still went first, got a crit on one of them, and went down to another Surf the following turn. Jupiter's Golbat had Giga Drain, but he stayed in and used Surf once again to at least take out the second Bronzong, and Barry's Munchlax, I guess. But the Golbat fought with Sludge Bomb instead, so that worry was all for nothing. Zuma continued to spam Surf when Mars's Perugly got brought out. Barry's Staraptor then went down to the Golbat's second Sludge Bomb, already weakened from two over attacks in the same turn. Its Heracross also went down to an Aerial Ace and Air Cutter the following turn, which could have been mitigated if I did proper speed calculations instead of hoping for the best with Aqua Jet. But the second Aqua Jet brought it down, and then the Golbat poisoned him with a third Sludge Bomb. Since there were a couple of flyers on the field, I swapped into Liberty, tanking a Poison Fang on the switch and letting Barry's Rapidash finish off Jupiter's Golbat with Fire Blast. That same move barely did anything on the Skuntank, which poisoned it with Poison Jab and finished it with the same move in conjunction with Golbat's Confuse Ray, while Liberty also got the paralysis on the same Flying Menace on the way to a Spark 2 shot. All that was left was Jupiter's Skuntank, which killed Liberty with a crit Poison Jab. I believed Goodway was also expendable, so I brought her in. She tanked a non-crit flamethrower like a champ, lowered its defenses with Iron Tail, and combined with Empoleon Swagger, it then took itself out before causing any more destruction. Immediately after the fight, the three Lake Stooges quelled Dialga and Palkia, causing Cyrus to enter a fit of rage and immediately fight the squads in Diamond and Pearl. Demix led in the previous fight, so he stepped in to lead against his Honchkrow. For some reason, that bird opened with Steel Wing, which got a crit and negated the resistance. He did, however, wash it over with two Surfs and made Cyrus waste his Super Potion. Roxas went in for the Gyarados despite that thing knowing Earthquake. They intimidated each other, meaning Spark couldn't get the job done, and then he just opted for Aqua Tail. What is this Diamond and Pearl AI doing? After another Spark brought down the Dummiel, I wrongfully kept Roxas in against the Weavile when I was meant to tag in Ericus. Thankfully, he held back a Night Slash and a Brick Break, then ran through it with a single Cross Chop, and Roxas returned for the Crobat, holding back a Cross Poison while going in with a Spark 2H KO, complete with Paralysis, coming in clutch once again. Pearl's leader Rockhopper washed over the Honchkrow with two Surfs, making Embargo and the Super Potion pointless. All of my teammates had some weakness to any attacking moves with this Gyarados, so I was willing to let go of Mushroom in exchange for his death. What I was not expecting was for him to go first with me and chip damage on Giga Drain even when holding the Big Root, and Gyarados' Ice Fang to both freeze him and set off Poison Point! I then thought I could let go of Panda because of all the problems with rivalry in these key fights, but not only did she dodge a Giga Impact, but she also tanked a non-crit Earthquake on 18 HP. One Spark finished it off. Tree jumped in for the Weavile. Thanks to her Wildlands, she landed a 99% accurate high jump kick that took it out in one turn, while only holding back a soft Brick Break. And Firework used two Rock Throws of the Crobat to bring it down, only holding back a Bite that didn't flinch, an Air Slash that did, and a Cross Poison that didn't get the boosted crit chance. In Platinum, the combined force of Dialga and Palkia was too much to restrain, meaning some shadowy Giratina thing pulled Cyrus down a black hole. And Cynthia was kind enough to let me regroup, bury Liberty, and fetch a new teammate. This was the time for Wildcat to jump in. I wanted to use it for endgame, but there we were, using it there and then, fighting the Zubat line at the bottom of the mountain for speed EVs. During this training, it then held an upgrade and evolved into its first trait evolution, Porygon 2. I know that the Dubious Disc is already available at this point, but that throws away all its bulk, which I really valued more. And after going through the dream parkour destination that was the Distortion World, Platinum faced Cyrus's wrath deep in the depths. Zuma opened the fight amazingly with a Surf Hulk on his Houndoom. Wildcat jumped in for the Gyarados and went first, but low-rolled Thunderbolt and had to tank a Waterfall. After a full restore heal for Cyrus, Wildcat got a higher damage roll for Thunderbolt and took it out. It stayed in for the Honchkrow, which in hindsight was a bad idea considering a Drill Peck crit would kill, but it did its crit and two Thunderbolts shocked its core. Mandy had to take a fake out and a nice punch from Weavile before killing with a single Karate Chop. And then there's Crobat. I had Goodway out first to resist all its attacks, but Confuseray and Flinch hacked some Air Slash, put her health down to a quarter before doing anything. Humdinger had better luck and used Wing Attack twice before retreating the same way. And Simba was able to also survive the barrage of attacks and finish it off with a single Surf. In the aftermath, all three cover legendaries got caught with a Master Ball and became caretakers in the box. And Platinum left the Distortion World through Send Off Spring, home of Chase for Dusclops. The squads had a straight shot to the final gym in Sunny Shore City, but Diamond and Platinum still let their guard down. While fighting a fisherman, Ariel got met with death thanks to a Gyarados' rain-boosted crit Aqua Tail, and Platinum fared no better against a Sailor's Gastrodon, which got a Muddy Water accuracy drop that I didn't notice thanks to Speed Up, meaning a second one, also powered up from Rain, got the killing blow. I still hadn't learned my lesson regarding rushy things. Diamond was able to quickly replace Ariel with Zigbar and bring him up to par with the rest of the team, but Platinum needed another Aviator, and the answer just so happened to be in the egg that Cynthia gave all the way back at Eterna City. After running around with it, Marshall the Togepi was born, and after helping Riley back at Iron Island and grabbing the Shiny Stone, he then got trained up and reached his final form as a Togekiss, ready for a rough rescue. I also briefly took Sky out to the daycare and decided that this pup's gotta fly out of Leafeon. One quick visit to Eterna Forest later, and she would be ready when the time comes. In addition, Chase was on the case when given a Reaper Cloth, allowing him to get his trade evolution as a Dusk Noir. At Sunny Shore, Volkner got convinced to do his job and challenges as an Electric-type leader. Riku led for Diamond, then ran an Earthquake Oko on both Raichu and Luxray, while tanking a gentle Brick Break from the former. Roxas's Spark was only good enough to 2-hit KO the Octillery, though luckily the first one paralyzed it, and it couldn't attack at all on the next turn. His Ambipalm attempted a nasty plot setup, but Ericus's cross-chop was enough to silence it in one turn. In Pearl, Firework also one-shotted the Raichu and Luxray with Earthquake, but her lower speed made her tank a critical hit Brick Break and a regular hit Crunch respectively. Panda Spark was again a 2-hit KO on the Octillery, leaving her to tank an Octazooka. And since the poor, obviously built for Baton Pass strats, Ambipalm could only attack with Shockwave, Firework had such an easy finish with 2 more EQs. His team on Platinum is pure electric types, thank goodness. Jolteon only used Iron Tail attacks on Goodway as she got the Oko with Dig. But then there was Raichu. It's obviously outsped before it could dig underground and used Focus Blast, which not only landed, but also crit killed Goodway. Nevertheless, Yumi jumped in, held back on another Focus Blast and took it down completely with Flamethrower. Without Goodway's typing, I needed another plan for the Electivire. Thankfully, all 4 of its moves are attacking moves, so I let Mandy jump in. She took a Thunder Punch, then hit a doubled up with Venge and killed it. She couldn't quite do the same to the Luxray though, so when the full restore heal happened, she tried to karate chop it down as much as possible and got flinched from Thunder Fang on the following turn, leaving me to use a Hyper Potion myself during the fight. Its next Thunder Fang didn't flinch, leaving Revenge to lands the killing blow. With another potential explosion wall gone, Platinum next opted to bring Katie onto the team, using a Metal Coat to evolve her into a Scizor. And as you could guess, Victory Road was also teaming with things that go bang, so everyone had to be on their guard. Admittedly, Diamond got too confident inside the cave and had Ericus out in front for a few fights, which would normally be a good matchup against rock types, but he still ultimately fell to a Graveler's explosion. He was my rock climber too, so I guess his dead hands got converted to a set of grappling hooks. Ultimately, the groups reached the Pokemon League, where Barry rushed inside the building for one last fight. And that's one rival fight that I shouldn't skip for once. Before the fight, Diamond filled up the empty spots with some depth body from Victory Road, but that wasn't needed. Roxas's Spark is only good enough for 2-hit kills on the Staraptor, even with a close combat defense drop, and it followed up with Aerial Ace for no reason at all. Shion then went in for the Snorlax and dispatched it with 3 uses of close combat, while it only used Rest. Roxas's slower speed also meant he tanked an Ice Fang against the Float Soul before a Spark one-shots. Shion all-called the Heracross with Brave Bird, then did the same to the Roserade later. And for the Infernape, Demix tanked an equally bizarre choice of Flamethrower and retaliated with an Oko Surf. Sorry, Xehanort, I should have left you experimenting with keys or something. In Pearl, Panda couldn't outspeed the Staraptors and used huge turn into Torterra, making her opening Spark useless. So I switched into Harlequin, dodging Earthquake, then let him ram through it with 2 wing attacks as a Crunching Leaf Storm hardly did much back. He also went on to one-shot the Heracross with the same move. Panda squared off against the Floatzel and got 2 Sparks in, having to deal with a Crunch and an Ice Fang along the way. Tree's high jump kick only took the Snorlax's health down to a sliver, and anticipating a potion heal, I went for that move for the second time, but nope, that was overkill. I could have just used Thunder Punch or something. As Panda's health was low, I opted to use Firework when the Staraptor came back out. It had landed a Steel Wing for a good chunk of damage, while I tried to get in a Rock Throw 2-hit KO. But its second move choice was Close Combat, which got a crit and killed her! Surprisingly, it opted for Aerial Ace when I brought Panda onto the field to finish it with a Spark. A crit for any other move is bad, but this was pretty much Barry throwing the match. Then there was the Rapidash. It set up Sunny Day right away, turning Rockhopper Surf into a 2-hit KO. 3 if you count the failed attempt to land a bounce. As for Platinum, Wildcat took out the Staraptor and Empoleon with Thunderbolts. Marshall all-called the Heracross with Fly. The same happened to the Roserade after the first attempt missed and it retaliated with Poison Jab. Zuma all-called the Rapidash with Surf. Then Mandy had to run through a Vital Throw and a Karate Chop to take out the Snorlax after it decided to heal with Rest, marking her retirement on a high. Yup, it really was Mandy's last fight, and she was an incredible asset for Platinum since joining Near Solaceon. She had shown how amazing she can be as a fighter, and those are values that are needed even in other regions. She and Zuma parted in exchange for Sky and Chase, forming a full team of Platinum exclusives. I guess Rubble didn't get to be on the double. Wildcat survived all the way to endgame, meaning it finally applied the dubious disc and transformed into a Porygon Z. Diamond had a lot more work to do and only opted to keep Riku and Zigbar. To round up the spots, Terra had the ever so useful Mold Breaker ability and evolved to a Rampardos to show what he could do, and likewise for Larxene, evolving her into a Wormadam with the Trash Cloak for the fewest weaknesses possible. But I still needed an answer for the champion's ace. After looking in my box, I noticed that Sora the Psyduck had a perfect speed IV in a nature that thankfully didn't hinder it. Thus, I EV trained him in speed and special attack from fighting a lot of Zubat, Murkrow, and Ghastly inside the Lost Tower. And once the rest of the team had evolved into a Golduck, we ended up with a dragon-killing Keyblade Master on our hands. And rounding off the team was Kairi, who also got trained up and evolved into a Honchkrow with a Duskstone. As for Pearl, only Rockhopper and Tree got kept for the final gauntlet. Monster was getting excited about contributing to the team, and even more so when fighting Ghastly in the Old Chateau for special attack EVs, and Geodude in the Ruin Maniac's cave for defense EVs, evolving into a Bronzong along the way. Rounding out the rest of the spots were Queen Bee, who evolved to a Vespiquen, Hedgehog, who evolved into a Miss Magius by the Duskstone, and Car Wash getting ready to shred as a Perugly of our own. It should also be noted that Platinum ran into a shiny Onyx while training, which I caught for fun. All teams could only rely on the rare candies in the overworld, since no one found a Napalm, and all Pachirisu encounters had run away instead. That meant everyone took more time than needed to get up to par with Lucian's Bronzong in Diamond and Pearl, or his Gallade in Platinum. And once there, everyone was ready for the fight of their lives against the Elite Four. First up was Aaron, with 4 book types and an ace that dropped out from Insect School. Kairi led the charge for Diamond, going for an Oko Aerial Ace against Dustox, Heracross, and Beautyfly. She couldn't quite do the same to Vespiquen, leaving her to tank a Power Gem that took nearly half of her health, though after a Potion Heal, another Aerial Ace got a crit knockout. Drapion was the first mental block of the run, because its only weakness is ground, and it has Ice Fang to hit Riku for quad damage and kill. But for some reason, it chose to use a Cross Poison and an X-Scissor on our Walking Tree Turtle instead, doing mere chip damage and letting him secure the W with an Earthquake 2-shot. Queen Bee got her first taste of the action for Pearl. Her Aerial Ace cuts through the Dustox's double team setup in 3 turns, including a Potion Heal. Hedgehog took out the Vespiquen with a crit Oko Thunderbolt. Monster held on against the Beautyfly with 2 Ice-type hidden power attacks while tanking Psychic for some reason. Could have been a better move there, DPAI. Tree's Fire Punch left Heracross with just a sliver, but Night Slash hardly did anything back, and she used 2 more to finish it off after a Potion Heal from Aaron. And while Monster's Earthquake was only enough for a 3-shot on the Drapion, the amount of bulk meant Ice Fang, X-Scissor, and Aerial Ace got completely walled. In Platinum, Marshall slammed through both Yanmega and Heracross with an Air Slash each, and Yumi burninated the Scissor with a single Flamethrower. Chase had to tank 2 Ice Fangs while taking out the Drapion with 2 Earthquakes. Wildcat's Thunderbolt wasn't enough to walk on the Vespiquen either, while it tried to set up with Defend Order. After a Potion Heal from Aaron, 2 more Thunderbolts got the KO. Bertha was up next, and in Diamond and Pearl, she clearly didn't get the memo about there being enough ground types to build a mono team. In Diamond, Riku one-shotted the Quagsire and Wishcash with a Razor Leaf, but could only do a 2-HK on the out-of-place Sudowoodo, while it in turn retaliated with Hammer Arm and Sucker Punch. He tried to push down the Hippowdon with the same move, and was also the logical one to keep inside a Sandstorm, but a curse set up an Earthquake spam pushed him into the red. I swapped in Sora, who tanked a Crunch and some Sandstorm recoil. He then used Surf to clear the rest of the Hippowdon's health, then one-shotted the Golem despite the Sandstorm special defense boost. Pearl tried to be clever by using Monster's Earthquake in the fight against the Quagsire, but then I learned that this clump of metal was oddly faster. The tactics changed to Psychic Spam, which with one double team combined with protecting the effects of Sandstorm brought some misses along the way. After it got finally taken out, Wishcash went in. It was able to land a Rock Slide, a flinching Zen Headbutt, and an Aqua Tail while also going down to a Psychic 2-shot. And the Sandstorm had already gone by the time Sudowoodo got out, so Psychic again showed no mercy in 2 turns, letting it tank a Sucker Punch. I tried changing it up with Hidden Power against the Hippowdon, but after 1 Curse attack boost, a Crit Crunch brought its health down to 10 HP. After letting Rockhopper tank a Stone Edge on switch-in, he finished the fight with a Surfer Peach. Surfer Peach? That's a cartoon waiting to happen. He finished the fight with a Surfer Piece on that and the Golem in the back. Sky was Platinum's MVP, as expected. She ran a Razor Leaf one-shot through the Wishcash, let Wildcat handle the Gliscor with Ice Beam, and she ran a Grass Knot through everything else. Hippowdon didn't go down right away, turning the move into a 2-HKO, but Stone Edge didn't do much back anyway. Then there was Flint's Fire Team, the stuff of memes for Diamond and Pearl players. Sora opened for Diamond and hit a Surf Orca on both Rapidash and Infernape, but then came Lopunny, which let Terra take out with 2 Earthquakes, all while having a Charm attack drop along the way. Driftblim was next, but after 1 ancient power, that thing decided to baton pass straight to the Steelix with no stats boosts. Thanks, DPAI. Earthquake spam wasn't enough to kill it, so on a potion heal turn, I switched into Sora and took it out with another Surf. Back to Driftblim. I felt that with attack reset, Terra would still finish it off with an ancient power, but it didn't, and Driftblim sent out an ominous wind, which landed a crit and killed Terra. Thankfully, there was no more potion healing, so Kyrie jumped in with 1 Night Slash to finish the match. Rockhopper missed the first Surf on the Rapidash thanks to Bounce, but the second one connected and wiped out the fiery horse. Then came Infernape, which Hedgehog had 2 move immunities. I was very worried about Flare Blitz, and after a turn 1 Thunder Punch, it indeed retaliated with that exact fire move. And ultimately, it left Hedgehog on just 3 HP. Both Shadow Balls and the recoil damage were the end of that fiery monkey. Carwash got her first taste of battle with running Shadow Claw on the Driftblim, but it immediately used Baton Pass into Lopunny. I carefully bolted in trees that failed to use Mirror Coat of all moves, then let her take it down with a high jump kick. It did, however, leave a parting gift of Sunny Day before going down. Driftblim went back out and so did Carwash, with the second Shadow Claw landing a crit, a kill, but leaving damage behind from Aftermath. Finally, Rockhopper finished off the Steelix with Sun-hindered Surf Spam, and not much he could do other than pray to not get a burn from Firefang. Even with the potion heal, it still got rusted big time. In Platinum, Marshall went first against Houndoom. Aura's Fear wasn't quite an Orco, leaving the opposite side to also use Sunny Day. A potion heal, another Aura's Fear, and then extreme speed later, and Houndoom was down. Then we had Infernape. Chase held on against a Flare Blitz while he ran an Earthquake to take it down to red HP. Anticipating another Flare Blitz, I switched into Yumi and nerfed it with her Flash Fire ability, then finished it off with Flamethrower. She stayed out for the Flareon, tanked a Giga Impact, and took it down with 2 Dark Pulses. Up next was McMortar. Despite knowing Thunderbolts, I forced Marshall out to start special defense tank and used Ancient Power against it. Amazingly so, he got the Omni Boost, turning a possible 3-HK KO into a 2-HK KO and an outspeed on turn 2. He stayed out against the Rapidash, where Ancient Power didn't quite kill, but it went out itself by using its last remaining energy on Flare Blitz, which of course couldn't even crit kill. Leading the group was Lucian's Psychic Team, and Diamond was already in a pinch. Terra's Mold Breaker would have been a perfect answer to bypass Levitate on Lucian's Bronze Song. But there was a backup plan. Zigbar's Night Slash one-shotted the Mr. Mime, Alakazam, and Girafarig. He also tanked a Fire Punch while going for a 2-HK KO Night Slash against Medicham, and out went the backup fighter against his Bronze Song, which was Kyrie. Her typing made her immune to both Earthquake and Psychic, meaning a flurry of Night Slash spam as it merely did chip damage with Gyro Ball. Hedgehog made a great start for Pearl and hit an all-cold Shadow Ball on the Mr. Mime. Carwash pinned down the Girafarig with a Tract before taking out the Love-Struck Stallion with 2 feint attacks. Hedgehog went on to also all-call the Medicham and Alakazam with Shadow Ball, but had to tank an Energy Ball from the latter. Finally, Bronze Song. Hedgehog remained out, used Perish Song, and then it let Monster tank all it's got. All it did was stack itself 3 times with Calm Mind and used a soft Psychic before time ultimately caught up with it. Platinum's lead of Yumi was ruthless, nailing an all-cold Dark Pulse on both the Mr. Mime and the Espeon, and Chase ran an equally insane crit all-cold Shadow Punch on the Gallade. I was more defensive for the Bronze Song as I chose to use Marshall against it, with Aura's Sphere ultimately being a 3-HK KO not including any potion heals. But it's fine, it just used Psychic twice and ran a Calm Mind setup that went nowhere. Katie got a first taste of the action against Alakazam. Focus Blast brought her health down to around half of Night Slash merely brought it down to red HP. So anticipating another Focus Blast, I switched to Marshall again, and we had a Focus Miss, leaving him to finish it up with extreme speed. One fight remained, and that was the stuff of nightmares that was Cynthia. With not only a diverse team, but also got completely maxed IVs, which is why I did all that EV training earlier. With my rare candies collected throughout the journey, most of the survivors reached level 66 in Diamond and Pearl, or 62 in Platinum to match her Garchomp. She opened with Spiritomb, and Diamond opened with Kyrie. Of course, she spammed Night Slash while it tried to retaliate back with a soft Dark Pulse and a crit Ominous Wind. 4 Night Slashes including a crit from us and a potion heal from her and that spooky ghost went away. Up next was Milotic. Sigma had the physical power, but then I saw that 3 regular Night Slashes weren't enough to take it down before 2 Surfs would take down him. On the second turn, I pressed the big red button that was Explosion and took down the rest of his health in exchange for Sigma's death. I wasn't sure what would happen next, so I brought in Loxine. She then shifted into Gastrodon, which only had Stone Edge and Muddy Water as decent attacking moves. She spammed Psychic and even got a special defense drop on one, while it in return opted to fight with Stone Edge, hitting 3 and missing 1, and only then did it change things up and tried Muddy Water. Even with a potion heal, her tanking was enough to kill an opponent all by herself, even if she would have been dead to a crit. Wormer Trash is best trash. Then there's Lucario. The plan I had all along with this was Riku's Earthquake, which indeed was a one-shot. No idea why it used Psychic to attack though. And then there was the moment of truth. Sora versus Garchomp. I clicked Ice Beam, and exactly as predicted, Sora went first, and the move one-shotted that Demon Sandshock from hell. All that Cynthia had left was Rose Raid. Even as half health left over, Kari was able to gather the strength needed to one-shot with Aerial Ace. Thorcopper went first in Pearl and had a Surf 2-shot on a Spiritomb, tanking Silverwind. Hedgehog went in for Gastrodon thanks to Levitate. He took it out with 4 Shadow Balls including a crit, but it retaliated in return with Sludge Bomb, which of course poisoned him! I didn't think Queen Bee could take out Rose Raid with an Oko Aerial Ace, but she tanked an Extrasensory and did just that. Then there's Milotic, and in went Tree to pound through its physical defense. Thunder Punch was only enough for a 2-shot, and so would have High Jump Kick. Yet it tried to hit back with Mirror Coat. She also stayed in for Lucario. It went first with Aura Sphere, which meant nothing because High Jump Kick took it out on turn 1. This trainer AI is why you won't normally Nuzlocke Diamond and Pearl. Finally, Garchomp. This was Monster's time to shine. This Sandshock just kept spamming Break for neutral damage, but those defense CVs meant it hardly did anything to this giant piece of steel. Want to know something better? Hidden Power Ice took it out in 2 turns, with the deciding move being a critical hit. Yumi goes Ruthless again for Platinum, with a crit Dark Pulse Oko on Spiritomb. Sky went toe-to-toe against Milotic and tanked an Ice Beam while slicing away with Razor Leaf. Chase tried to run Rock Slide spam on the Togekiss, but Cynthia got fed up and switched to Lucario, which had then brought over Yumi to tank a Shadow Ball and kill with Flamethrower. Then there was Garchomp, and as expected, Wildcat went first and killed it with Ice Beam. The Togekiss went back out and Chase went back to Rock Slide spam, only this time I was willing to let him die based on what she had left. However, when brought into red HP from Air/use, I brought in Marshall to tank it back, but it went for a Water Pulse for some reason. Nevertheless, he tanked a Shockwave while letting 2 more uses of Ancient Power to knock it out. Finally, Rose Raid. Yumi knew what to do. She'd burned the scene down with a single Flamethrower, securing victory. And just like that, Nuzlocke got completed in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. And believe it or not, everyone had a chance to contribute to the endgame, which further shows how bonkers the Sinnoh region can be. The death count meant I was still gritting my teeth for the Switch remakes, but I have a whole load more legs before figuring out what to do. And the whole thing told me to champ as little from the Sinnoh Pokédex as possible going forward. I'm needed at Johto again next time. I'll catch you in the next installment where I take on Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So subscribe to see the next video as it goes live. For now, Rexy out. Thanks for watching, and whenever you're in trouble, just yelp for help.